Now learn the bass catching techniques of the Bassmaster Tournament Trail Pros. Coming next on the Bassmasters, right here on TNN Outdoors.
Today, the Bassmaster Tournament Trail heads to the Virginia-North Carolina border and Lake Gaston for the Kmart Virginia Top 100 Pro-Am event. The best pros and amateur partners are set to tackle this 20,300-acre reservoir on the Roanoke River. Now, the next 3 days should prove interesting because last year, in flood condition, Gaston produced an impressive big bass bonanza for tournament winner David Ashcraft. But this may not be true this time. The fishery has absolutely changed, and here's Bob Cobb of the Bassmaster to explain.
Well, Ray, it's a story that concerns bass fishermen, the war on weeds. We watched it happen before, the destruction of aquatic vegetation, the spraying, the use of chemicals, herbicides, and grass-eating carp to control the spread of grass. We've mourned the casualties of this warfare, the passing of great bass fisheries, Florida's Lake Harris chain, Lake Chickamauga in Tennessee, the crippling of Alabama's Lake Guntersville, and now an attack here at Gaston. There's reason for concern, as David Ashcraft knows.
Last year we had a lot of grass in the lake, and any lake that I've ever been to, whether it's hydrilla, milfoil, any type of aquatic vegetation, you're gonna have a lot of quality fish. You know, I was really disappointed not to see the grass this year, and I think it's hurt fishing.
What have you seen in years past when they start messing with the grass?
Well, the fishing usually goes to hell in a handbasket real quick. And man, I don't really know why. I thought at one point in time, in some cases, I think it has amounted to overharvesting. As people catch the fish out, once the grass is gone, the cover is gone, the fish become a lot more susceptible to hook and line pressure, and there will be some harvest, and that has declined some fisheries. But this one has happened so fast, and some others, like Santee Cooper's the same situation, I understand. They've gone in a year. I mean, the fish have gone evidently from real good to pretty sorry, it looks to me like. And a lot of the fish that I've seen since I've been here are just real thin and real poor. They don't look like they're in good health.
I got one fish right now, and he's pitiful, skinny, looks sick as he could be.
Before he joined the Bassmaster Tournament Trail ranks, Randy Howell had a successful bass guiding business here on Lake Gaston.
I've been here 13 years, and never did it ever get where the fish didn't look healthy in this lake. This lake's always had some of the healthiest fish in the whole state. It needs to be a compromise with people that don't like grass and people that do. They need to work it out without just going all out and just destroying it, you know.
Well, Ray, there's two sides to every story. And right now, the bass fishermen are losing the battle in the war on weeds.
Thanks, Bob, for that update on the habitat. From reports, it's going to be a really tough tournament. Not many bites, but with a decline in the grass beds, there's reason to believe that Gaston's well-known boat dock pattern will produce. I'm Ray Scott. You stay tuned, and you'll learn how to work the boat docks.
Now learn the bass catching techniques of the Bassmaster Tournament Trail Pros. Coming next on the Bassmasters, right here on TNN Outdoors.
Today, the Bassmaster Tournament Trail heads to the Virginia-North Carolina border and Lake Gaston for the Kmart Virginia Top 100 Pro-Am event. The best pros and amateur partners are set to tackle this 20,300-acre reservoir on the Roanoke River. Now, the next 3 days should prove interesting because last year, in flood condition, Gaston produced an impressive big bass bonanza for tournament winner David Ashcraft. But This may not be true this time. The fishery has absolutely changed, and here's Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters to explain.
Well, Ray, it's a story that concerns bass fishermen. The war on weeds. We watched it happen before. The destruction of aquatic vegetation, the spraying, the use of chemicals, herbicides, and grass-eating carp to control the spread of grass. We've mourned the casualties of this warfare, the passing of great bass fisheries, Florida's Lake Harris chain, Lake Chickamauga in Tennessee, the crippling of Alabama's Lake Guntersville, and now an attack here at Gaston. There's reason for concern, as David Ashcraft knows.
Last year we had a lot of grass in the lake, and any lake that I've ever been to, whether it's hydrilla, milfoil, any type of aquatic vegetation, you're going to have a lot of quality fish. You know, I was really disappointed not to see the grass this year, and I think it's hurt fishing.
What have you seen in years past when they start messing with the grass?
Well, the fishing usually goes to hell in a handbasket real quick. And man, I don't really know why. I thought at one point in time, in some cases, I think it is mounted to overharvest. You know, people catch the fish out. Once the grass is gone, the cover is gone, the fish become a lot more susceptible to hook and line pressure, and there will be some harvest, and that has declined some fisheries. But this one has happened so fast, and some others, like Santee Cooper, is the same situation, I understand. They've gone in a year. I mean, the fish have gone evidently from real good to pretty sorry, it looks to me like. And a lot of the fish that I've seen since I've been here are just real thin and real poor. They don't look like they're in good health.
I got one fish right now, and he's pitiful, skinny, looks sick as he could be.
Before he joined the Bassmaster Tournament trail ranks, Randy Howell had a successful bass guiding business here on Lake Gaston.
I've been here 13 years, and never did it ever get
in front of as many fish as I possibly can. Some of the support posts way back underneath these docks, you really got to skip a bait way up underneath like that to get to them, because they're not going to come out to the bait. You've got to take the bait to the fish. They like to be in them dark, shady spots. And as the day changes, the key spot of the dock may change. Early in the morning, they may be on one side of the dock because it's shaded. Later in the day, they'll be on the totally opposite side. Now, a dock like what we have right here, as we're getting around, you see this ladder? Ladders are tremendous spots on boat docks. For some reason, fish love to hang around the ladders. And a lot of times, that's a pattern in itself. If you're figuring out a certain piece of the dock, a certain structure, certain types of docks, pay attention to the depth. There's just so many variables about docks that when you do get a bite, really analyze that bite. Was that dock on a point? Was it back in a pocket? Was it a gravel bank? Was it a rock bank, a mud bottom? Try to just analyze everything about each bite, and pretty soon you'll figure out that there's only certain docks that are really holding the fish, and then you can cover a lot more water in a hurry more efficiently. Now, this here particular dock with a long walkway, you've got a lot of different targets, and what's neat about a dock like this is you can figure out the depth that the fish are utilizing, whether they're shallow or if they're out on the end, they're wanting to be a little bit deeper, and then you can apply it to other docks. Here you see a major change in this dock. You see here how the walkway's up off the water, and a lot of light can penetrate underneath it, and all of a sudden the walkway comes down and it's on the water. More than likely, this will be the best stretch because it's offered more shade for the fish. They're going to feel a little more secure. Right there would be a perfect place.
Figuring out which docks to key on is a problem here at Gaston. But Alabama's Gerald Swindle thinks he's got a pattern working.
The water's starting to cool, and the fish are starting to move into coves, and what we're doing is we're fishing these little short pockets off the main river, and I'll fish the first or second dock going into each cut. And what I'm looking for is a big dock. You know, the bigger the dock, the bigger the bite. I want the dock big with a big shadow area. I prefer it to be real low to the water, and preferably a hard bottom. I'll give or take on the bottom a little bit, but I'm just trying to fish right inside the cut, left to right on each side. I try to make 3 or 4 key casts on the dock, and I'll go to the next one. And maybe we can fish 150, maybe 125 to 150 docks a day.
We'll find out the best pattern for getting bites in these tough conditions. But right now, it's time for Bass Mail, where you viewers ask the Bassmaster pros for answers. John Markle of Glen Rock, Pennsylvania writes, I'd like your opinion on using fish attractants, the lure sprays. Do they just fool fishermen, or do they catch more bass? Well, here's three-time BASS winner David Wharton with the answer.
I tell you what, fish attractants really work, actually. The thing you need to keep in mind is that if you're fishing for one more fish during the day, they're sure not going to hurt anything. So I use them religiously. And the one that I use is Bang, and it's a crawfish scent that I just spray on. I normally use it on bottom baits like a jig or a worm, but also you can use it on crankbaits or spinnerbaits, either one. They will work on spinnerbaits, but normally if fishing's real tough, like after a cold front situation or something like that, or especially bedding fish, spray that Bang on it and you'll catch more fish.
If you have a question for the Bassmaster Tournament Trail Pros, write Bass Mail, 8600 Coppertown Lane, Box 404, Dallas, Texas, 75243. We may select your question to answer on the air.
Scales, folks, the newest member of the Bass $1 Million Club, hails from the great state of Missouri, has a limit of 5 bass, and he has to top 17 pounds and change to take the lead. Watch the scales for Denny Brower. Total weight, 21 pounds, 2 ounces. Mark it, 21.2.
The Pros Pro did it. An impressive 5 bass creel for Denny Brower. And with 21 pounds, 2 ounces over a 3-pound lead. Mike Terry checks in 17 pounds, 12 ounces, an equally impressive start. Pete Glusick ranks third with 13 pounds, 9 ounces, followed by Peter Tilaveros, Kevin Worth, and Kenyon Hill, all with over 12 pounds. But the bite is questionable. Only 14 pros score 5 bass limits.
One factor may help, the weather. The conditions are the same here on day 2, and Pete Glusick is sticking with his pattern.
I'm fishing what I believe to be an old creek channel that runs through this flat. And it's got a bunch of stumps and rocks on the top of the break that comes down in the creek channel. I believe what's happening is a shatter in this area, and these bass are forcing these shad up against the wall of the one side of the creek channel, which comes up about 3 feet off the bottom. How big this fish is. Oh! Turned out to be a good one.
Mike Terry, who scored over 17 pounds yesterday, is working the same upriver flat, fishing key spots with grass.
They're just little grass humps that set out away from the bank, or little points that come out from these pockets. I hadn't caught anything down in the pocket. I've just been concentrating on this big flat that runs down through here on the shallow grass line. Most of the fish that I caught yesterday, you know, they were hitting real sluggish. You know, you really had to drop the bait down to them, the rattling route. You'd have to stop it and let it fall down in the grass, and they were just hitting it real light. Wasn't none of them really hitting it hard.
What grass has been spared from spraying is located mostly upriver, above the bridges on Lake Gaston. This area has been overlooked by most. But Peter Tilaveros in 4th place and his tournament roommate Kenyon Hill in 6th have discovered it.
Peter T and I are up here for cutoff, and I was fishing some backwaters and running around and come out to him on the main river, and he said he had a couple bites out here on the main river. And I went to the other side, went down and had some bites, and between the two of us, we kind of put this thing together. The river section is one of the few sections of the lake that still has some grass in it. And I'm just going down up and down these outside edge grass lines, fishing real slow, fishing all the way up to where it's kind of topped out to the surface. Down to 14, 15 foot, you'll be a little bit of scattered grass down there, and just being slow and patient. It's just it's a process more than just hitting a spot and catching a bunch of fish. You just got to know that you come out here and you fish all day, and you'll get a few bites.
Kevin Worth in 5th place is fishing off the main lake, pounding the docks.
I've been yet to catch a fish off a dock on a spinnerbait, you know, on the edges of it or anything like that. So you have to really go back in and dig them out. I can't figure out why you have to do that. But this is the third cloudy day we've had. It seems like they'd get out and get a little loose and get aggressive.
The bass under the docks are taking a pounding, but tournament leader Denny Brower still thinks he has an edge. His new electric blue color pro model jig is new to the bass.
Two yesterday. Today, a 4 bass, not a 5 bass limit. He had a limit yesterday, but Denny, this is going to keep you right up there. Let's put him on there, Jerry. 4 bass for the leader, Denny Brower, 11 pounds and 4 ounces. 11-4. Nice hand for him, folks.
1 bass shy of a load. But from the looks of the Day 2 leaderboard, Denny didn't need it. He's comfortably ahead of the pack with a 2-day total of 32 pounds 6 ounces and a 6 pound 7 ounce lead. Kenyon Hill jumps from 6th into 2nd place with a 5 bass limit and 13 pounds 8 ounces today. Pete Glusick holds on to 3rd. The top 10 places and faces change big time. Ken McIntosh climbs to 4th. Mike Terry drops to 6th with only 2 keepers on Day 2. Peter Tilaveros falls from 4th to 11th. Climbing the ladder, Virginia's Woo Daves and Alton Jones from Texas with the best second-round catches, 14 pounds 4 ounces and 17-1 respectively. Denny Brower has 8 BASS wins to his credit, a commanding lead. He's won over $1 million in his Bassmaster Tournament Trail career. Seems a cinch he'll pocket $75,000 here, the first place purse in the Kmart Virginia Top 100. But in bass fishing, there are no givens. Even if you're working a key pattern, make the right flip, a solid hook set. There are no guarantees. Sometimes, for no reason, a bass comes unbuttoned and an opportunity comes unraveled. But for every disappointment, there's a chance to rebound. Such is the turnaround story of Peter Tilaveros. Yesterday, Peter T. went down in flames. Today, he's on top the bassin' world.
He needs 17 pounds and 5 ounces to take the lead from Kenyon Hill, and who is also his best friend and traveling buddy, Peter Tilaveros of Jacksonville, Florida. A 5 bass limit. Let's put him on the scales, Pete. He needs 17.5 to take the lead. Look at here, folks. You're nearly 20 pounds. 20 pounds. 19 pounds. 15.
Stop. 15. I'll take it.
19 pounds, 15 ounces. Margaret, nice hand for him.
There really wasn't much of a pattern. It was more just fishing this week than anything else. The only thing I think that helped Kenyon and I catch more fish was the fact that we picked up, or we felt like the fish were really lethargic and weren't chasing very much. We didn't see many fish chasing bait fish, and we really went with a slow presentation. We used a Texas rig lizard and a Texas rig craw, a Zoom critter craw and a Zoom big green pumpkin lizard the whole time, and we just kept those baits wet. We had them Texas rigged with a 3/8 ounce weight and a 4/0 HP hook, and we just kept going and throwing at everything that got in the front of the boat. So I'm real pleased. I mean, I couldn't have had a better day than I had today. Denny Brower has got a heck of a shot at winning this thing, and I'm sure he probably will. But I'm just glad to have caught what I caught and had a chance to come up here and talk about it a little bit.
He needs 6 pounds and 12 ounces to regain the lead from Missouri, Mr. Denny Brower. Only 2 bass, and let's put him on the scales, Denny. 4 pounds, 8 ounces, Denny, 4/8.
Well, the last 2-3 years have been like that, Trip. Really had a pretty efficient tournament. Really had 1 fish get off in 3 days, and you can't complain about that. I guess it was just Peter T's turn. You know, I must be a greedy individual because I think it's my turn pretty soon.
But today, it's the turnaround fortunes of Peter Tilaveros with an amazing comeback. The champion of the Kmart Bassmaster Virginia Top 100. with 13 bass and 39 pounds 1 ounce. Denny Brower finishes runner-up with 36 pounds 14 ounces, followed by Kenyon Hill, Mike Terry, and Kevin Worth. In the amateur division, Tony Barham leads it wire to wire with a winning 27 pounds 3 ounces. The North Carolina angler takes home a $22,000 Ranger bass boat powered with an OMC Johnson outboard.
And you did put a trailer hitch on your truck before you left town, right?
Yes, sir. I got my brother Billy. He's over here, my biggest fan. He helped me put that hitch on the other night. I told him, I said, we need to get ready.
Right now, it's time for the Pros Pointer, the champion's winning tip. Brought to you by Wrangler Rugged Wear, geared for the outdoors.
The way I won this tournament was nothing more than being persistent and keeping it as simple as possible. I really didn't have a pattern, so what I did was Texas rig, a lizard, and a crawfish, and I went down the bank in one direction, and I hit every piece of cover that I could find. If there was a stump or a lay down or just a grass line, I made a pitch at everything that I could, and I just kept the boat going in the same direction. I didn't try and cover myself up or go back over places that I'd already fished. I tried to constantly fish new water. And by making a simple presentation and keeping my bait wet, I was able to catch enough fish, and I got the right bites, enough bites.
Moves up the Roanoke River to Kerr Reservoir for the Virginia Bassmaster Eastern Invitational. Same river system, but a different bassing challenge. Late fall puts the bass in transition, moving the bass into the creeks. You join us for all the action right here on TNN Outdoors, and you'll learn how Kevin Van Dam puts together a creek channel pattern that wins for him. For the Bassmasters, I'm Ray Scott. See you next week right here. Or catch up on Bassmaster Tournament Trail News on the website, www.bassmaster.com.